Yeah, countdown in the chat as well. Countdown. Okay. Hello everybody. So thank you first of all for joining us on this session, on this panel that is dedicated to CIS and Balkans. First of all, wish you strong health. We are in different format that we are aware of being onto the SBC event, and we were everybody planning to be in Barcelona these days, but now we are virtually together. And first of all, so wish you strong health and stay safe. So thanks to our participants, panelists who are today with us and who will be producing quite interesting session. So I'll start introducing by name. So Ilya Machavariani, who is the representing Dentos, who is the head of CIS gaming and gambling direction for Dentos. Irakli Davarashvili, who is the chief marketing officer of ajarabet.com and ajarabet.am. Maxim Afanasyev, who is the CPO of Russia betting operator Liga Stavak. And Minya Bolesnikov, who is the CEO of MaxBet, who is concentrating into the Balkan markets, which he will provide the information partner. So thank you very much, my dear panelists. And so now I give the stage to you, and I'll start with the question regarding the question addressed to Ilya, who will provide his, let's say, analysis to provide the general overview before going in details, the general overview of the CIS market in terms of the regulations. So what's going on there and what is under plan. And so to provide this kind of the information, please, Ilya, you can start.
Thanks a lot, Lasha. First of all, I would like to say that it is a huge pleasure to be here, and I would like to give my huge thanks to Lasha and the SBC team and everyone for making this happen in this really unprecedented times, and that we are still able to have this discussion online. And although it would be really great to be in Barcelona today, nevertheless, speaking about CIS and its regulations, I think that maybe the main point that I would like to tell you and that I would like to discuss, that I have a feeling that generally CIS has started to open up. And I mean that Ukraine, Uzbekistan, Russia, all these countries, they're trying to somehow work on their regulations, already existing one, and introduce some new ones. If we are speaking about Ukraine. And the main thing about these countries is that I see, as a lawyer at least, that the regulators and basically people who are responsible for preparation of these new laws, they are really looking towards the best international practices, and at least from my point of view. And speaking, for instance, if we would touch Ukraine here, I think that it is really, really great, and it's really good that Ukraine is trying to be open to international community, and everybody can notice that, because Ukrainian legalization, which basically has happened a couple of months ago, was fully covered in each and every international iGaming magazine or international iGaming media. And I really think that if Ukraine wanted to make the legalization closed one, and make legalization in the future market available and open only for local operators, then it would have happened the other way, basically. And I think that today and coming a couple of years in the future, this is the right moment for everyone to look into this direction, to look at the CIS, because provided that the regulators will continue their journey towards the best international practices, towards the implementation of transparent regulations that, which in turn are able to create a transparent market in the future, then I think that everybody in the international sports betting community and generally into each and every international operator should really look on this in this direction. If we would touch certain countries separately, then obviously everybody is aware about Ukraine and about Ukrainian legalization, and that it has happened. But I think that slightly less amount of people are aware of what is happening in Uzbekistan and Tajikistan here, because, for instance, Uzbekistan right now is aiming and trying to draw up and trying to shape up a new set of regulations that is going to regulate sports betting in the territory of Uzbekistan. And it is really surprising for me, and I'm not going to hide this, but Uzbekistan authorities are also looking to attract international operators and looking to create an international market in this territory. And to add to that, aside from Uzbekistan, there is Tajikistan, because there are also rumors about Tajikistan, and Tajikistan going to legalize basically everything, sports betting, online casino, and each and every vertical that there is. Again, I will repeat my thought here, and I really want to emphasize this, that irregardless of what is going to be in regulations in Ukraine, in subsequent regulations in Ukraine, and what is going to be in the sports betting regulations in Uzbekistan, and which form Tajikistan's legalization will take, but regardless of all that, it is really important that as of now and as of today, authorities are looking, and they are looking towards the international community, and they are seeking best international practices. And I really think that at least until the markets are not open, it is our joint obligation to try and help these governments and try and help these countries to shape the regulations in the way that would allow everyone to work there, essentially. And I really wanted to share this thought with you, because as Lasha is a great moderator, composed a number of panelists who is representing different sides of the industry. I represent legal side of the industry. Maxim and Minja represent operational side. In turn, Irakli represent marketing side. And I really want to hear how do you perceive the processes that are going around these countries?
You will hear that, I promise you. But before that, thank you for a very interesting summary, Ilya. So I would now pass the word to Irakli. And as we have touched the countries, those are the for the audience. So CIS, this is the we say CIS, but this is CIS plus Ukraine, Georgia, and the Baltic. So Georgia is also very important in this, let's say, former Soviet Union countries as a betting hub. And I would just address this question to Irakli, because we know that many, already 3 huge gambling organizations are presented in Georgia. In Georgia, it is already regulated for many years. And how this pure regulation does help the operators in Georgia, and what role did it play in getting all these big name companies in Georgia in this, quite short period of time? Please, Irakli. Irakli? You are on mute, I think. We cannot, you are... we will contact Irakli. So okay, we'll skip this. Let's say this issue. Okay, Maxim. So we will get back with Irakli. So Irakli regarding the Georgia analysis, and you as the CPO of the quite big betting organization in Russia, Liga Stavok. So what is your observation regarding the new opportunities that Ilya was mentioning? And also we do know that in Russia you are expecting the new kind of regulations by the end of September as well. So how it will be, reflecting the business side of the betting?
Now we hear you.
Sorry, Irakli. Yes, now we hear you. I will get back to you. So I have just addressed the question to Maxim as you were offline. So yes, I will get back to you.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me well. Yeah.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. First of all, thank you very much for inviting. And yes, it's also a big pleasure for me to be part of this group. Actually, within the last several days, one of the most common questions that I heard is like, wow, you're going to Barcelona? Because I shared the fact that I will be speaking. So yeah, well, we will be doing it virtually. Virtually, I'm in Barcelona. So yeah, speaking of changes, and yes, of course, we are studying what is happening outside Russia. Although we are a Russia-based company today, we are looking into future opportunities and are now building a middle-term and long-term strategy that that has in the plan an expansion to other countries, and CIS is of course on the top list of countries where we want to be presented. So yes, we are closely monitoring and following what is happening outside Russia, and hopefully soon you will see our presence outside Russian Federation. But okay. But regarding Russia, there's a lot of changes and news in our main country of our presence, and things happen very fast in Russia, especially when it comes to changing the law. So just a month ago, a new law was signed that regulates bookmakers' activity, and on October 1st, it will come into force. So what is changing is starting from October, we will only be able to accept bets on official sport events. Sport is number one, and official is number two. So meaning that legal Russian operators will not be able to accept bets on novelty stuff, like for example Oscar, Eurovision contest, or any kind of non-sport stuff. But what is also important, speaking of sport events, we will not be able to accept bets on events that are not officially presented or officially that have official status. Meaning that if for example today I can go and play table tennis with my colleagues and we can actually accept bets on it because that's a sports and we can accept bets on it. Well, for starting from October, we will not be able to do this anymore. So only those events that are that have official status, meaning that they work somehow with federations, will be allowed for betting. So this is like the most
sorry for interrupting, just to make more clear for the audience. Does it also concern the esports direction, or esports will take, how it will, what effect will it have onto the esports? Because we know that esports during this pandemic became quite popular in Russia as well, and mainly many of the betting operators were just going with esports, as the flagship during this hard time. So how it will affect the esports?
Well, luckily in Russia, esports is an official sport, so there should not be any problems unless, well, the event that we will be accepting bets on has an official status. We already now are in close communication with all our data providers, and we seek their help and assistance in order. For us, we will only be able to use the data from official sport events. So if there's an esports event, it needs to have some official status. So we will be able to accept bets on it. But actually, I think there should not be any problems with that. It's a little bit of bureaucracy on one hand, but on the other hand, that actually is a good story because we've heard about these ghost matches that are being held somewhere that actually never happened, and sport betting operators were accepting bets on it. So this is a good part of it, meaning that the organizers of the event will work closely with federations, and that will make sports more clear, more transparent, and will avoid situations when there's some dodgy stuff happening or an event never took place and the bookmaker operators were accepting bets on it. So it has some cons and pros and cons. So, but this is happening. This is happening in Russia already. Apart from this, there are some additional taxation. If someone is aware of how the taxation is set up in Russia, we, on a quarterly basis, Russian operators pay 5% on the GGR that is being collected on the Russian events. So now, starting from Q4 this year, we will actually pay a tax to the sports federations on all events, also not only Russian events, but also events worldwide.
International. Okay, quite interesting for the audience. So we are having quite a number of the questions. So at the end of the session, I will address those questions I'll pick up the questions and address to the participants. You can just write this. Irakli, we have lost you. So you were.
Yes. Now you hear me, I guess, right?
Yeah. Hello.
Yes. Hi. One more time. So can you repeat one more time question, because and I can get through the.
The question was regarding. So we know that Georgia is became somehow the betting hub, regulated betting hub of the CIS. International companies like BBC, Betson, and Paddy Power Betfair are already presented there, and you had quite successful case of the Paddy Power Betfair the last year. We all know that. And I would like to ask you that how the regulated market of Georgia and that the market was already regulated helped in this direction of getting these international players onto the market. And also, from your perspective as the marketing expert perspective from the gaming operator, how the regulated market helps you in activities, what opportunities it creates you, and what kind of opportunities do you have when you do have the regulations at place?
Okay, first of all, thank you for inviting me here. I'm really happy. I would like to be in Barcelona also, as everyone mentioned, but we are sitting at home and talking virtually. But anyway, yeah. So regarding the overview of the Georgian market generally, so to see, and everyone knows that it was a long time regulated, and everything is transparent, and there were around like 5 players all of these years active on the market, and time by time the market shares were changing according to the activity and according to the global companies which we are acquiring the local companies. So what I can say that from my perspective, not from an expert perspective, from marketing perspective, I think that all of this interest for the global brands made this regulation, I mean the existing regulation, the transparency and the transparent activities on the financial side and the operating side, of course, because to be compared with the with the world markets, even the advertising regulation, it was not let's say it was free of regulation, any kind of marketing activity which helped all of the active brands to run any kind of I don't know, crazy projects and crazy ideas, and because we were not prohibited to do any kind of activities, it means that we grow some kind of different industries also and raising our, I don't know, developing new channels which will then transformed into the acquisition channels from where we acquired new customers, etc. And also we have helped a lot developing new industries. I don't know, for example, general the internet web portals like movie portals, etc., etc., and all of these together, and this big amount of budgets and amounts of spending and spreading to the different industries, it helps us to maintain first of all our brand awareness. That's one, and also helped some little industries to develop itself, right? And that was one of the main reason I think why these big brands were interested, and our case was one of the biggest ever acquisition in our country last year, and it also helped us to develop ourselves.
The biggest.
Yes, the biggest one. So I'm really happy that I was a part of this one, and now I'm the member of this worldwide huge group, which is now operating all around the world. And also in terms of the regulation, of course, time by time, some of the regulations are happening and changing, and even in terms of the advertising regulation, as we don't have any strict restrictions, etc. It also helped us as the global brands are operating on the market. We came up with some kind of first movers and initiators that to be more responsibly advertise all over some of the channels. So as from the government side, it was some kind of strict regulations. We were the guys. Of course, it made that the global brands are operating on the market. It gave us the opportunity to be responsibly acting in terms of this, and also which gave us benefits in terms of brand image and in terms of to be for the players to be more secured, and for the general population to be more secured and more, how to say, to care about themselves. So that's the case. And regarding the Armenia, it's quite the same situation in terms of the advertising. It's more strictly regulated there. But anyway, and comparing with Georgia, all kind of activities should be confirmed with MOF. It's this kind of regulations, government stuff, and we run the procedure there where we get all kind of activities to be confirmed like this. So generally, here's the situation like this, what I can say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, and I'll come to you back with for the Ilia's question. Minya, it's time for Balkans. So
hi, how are
we
you?
know that. Yeah, fine, thank you. So we know that your company is operating in several countries, 4 countries in Balkans, and you are doing quite well. You do have the omni-channel. You do hold your main, let's say, flagship country is Serbia, but you are also planning in moving in other countries as well. And so, the question: so what's in Balkans? What's the next for you in Balkans? And briefly, just also make the overview.
Just an overview of Balkans. Thank you so much for the introduction. Balkans is in a very specific position due to the fact that it's mainly surrounded, or some of the countries within Balkans are already members of the EU. So basically, most of the countries in the region are trying to contend to become EU members. So the legislative behind entire gaming industry resembles the one within the EU, although not as strict at the moment as it is within the EU. For example, GDPR is on much lower scale. Ads and the entire advertising industry is still free to move. On the other hand, these are the markets where you will find sports betting, gaming densely inserted into the DNA of each customer. That means that sports betting shops are places of social interaction, or places to hang out, or places to spend time. Hence the omni-channel. We did not invent the omni-channel because we were just so visionary, but we realized what our customers needed in order to spend quality time with us. On the other hand, we're dealing with Serbia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Northern Macedonia, and Montenegro, and always on the lookout. But that's only one pair of hands. The other one is that big international brands are also looking into coming to our markets. And I think that what they've expected is that local operators in the region would perform poorer than they have over the COVID time, and would be up for grabs, etc., etc. So in that sense, I think that we are seeing local regional players who are on the lookout for potential opportunities, but also very, very large brand names looking to buy regional operators. Finally, the market itself is very distinct. If you have 250 markets for a single match as a regular West European standard, you have 400 plus different markets for a single match in Serbia. So people do know their betting, they love their betting, they love their sports, and the future is going to bring new options in terms of the payment. Everything is going digital. We're onboarding online, and online and retail are sort of a good mix for us, as retail is being used for different purposes, not only to offer the games themselves. And finally, there's a long way ahead in terms of the esports. I don't think that we as an industry have done enough to onboard people and understand where we are at.
Okay, I understand. Regarding the regulational stuff, the situation. So all the markets that you are operating, they are fully regulated, yeah?
All of them are fully regulated except North Macedonia, which is about to produce their first licensing for online casino. All the rest has been regulated within standards, from payments to certification. Some were tougher, some were copied from like EU sort of regulators. And finally, up to the point that for the first time ever, we're going to have Southeast European Gaming Business Forum, which is hopefully going to bring people such as yourself to come and see and talk to both the businesses themselves, but also regulators from the region and from the capitals of gaming.
Okay, I see. Okay, thank you. I'll conclude back. Ilya, can you just, so what, Max, you were analyzing in general, I mean, this legislational stuff and the regulatory stuff, you mentioned Ukraine, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, and so Maxim was talking regarding the changes in Russia. Can you comment on this as well? Because Russia is a very important country in the CIS, and we do know that if we will have time, we will also speak regarding this. So we have mentioned in Georgia that already big players are there. Minya has mentioned that these guys are already looking at the Balkans. So Russia is also very important, because we do know some cases that the international betting operators will be there. We think very soon. Everybody. So the industry is small, so everybody knows the information regarding certain cases. So what would you comment regarding these new changes? So how would you evaluate this? So where it comes from, and where it will go?
Sure, Lasha. First of all, thanks to Maxim for outlining the changes and describing them in such a brief manner. It's a pleasure to assist you in talking about Russia as well. I think then when we're speaking about changes in Russia, it is really important to put these changes, I mean, latest one, which will come into force into 1st October, to put them in some context of general context of Russia and Russian legislation regarding gambling and gaming. And the context that I'm talking about is that started from the beginning of this year. There is a process ongoing in Russia called regulatory guillotine, which purpose on paper is to allow each and every business in Russia to operate more smoothly by way of deleting or amending regulations, laws, and various other rules of introduced into legislation, amending such of them which are basically redundant or outdated or require this amendment. And I have the honor to be a part of the expert group from the gambling business, which is working on this process and working on this mechanism. And honestly speaking, before the changes that Maxim told us about, I was kind of optimistic about Russian regulatory outline and Russian regulatory landscape. Because honestly speaking, I may be an optimist, and I may be not so seasoned as people around me, but I still was kind of optimistic about these changes because, well, in the end, this mechanism I told you about was really intended to ease the life of business in Russia, and we were working towards deleting some of existing laws or subsequent laws, amending other ones. But again, honestly speaking, these changes was really shocking for me because, as Maxim briefly mentioned, they happened really fast, and essentially they were lying calmly in the Russian State Duma for at least a year, and suddenly 1 week the Duma just comes out of after the weekend and adopts this set of changes in 2 readings in 40 seconds, and obviously, these changes are, well, I want to say the word damaging the industry, but I don't think that this is entirely correct here because you cannot damage further what is damaged already. And these changes obviously are scrutinizing nature for the operators in Russia and for everyone looking at this market. But on the bright side of that, I think that maybe this new regulatory framework, this restriction of events, this enlarged amount of contributions and taxes that were as well mentioned by Maxim, this might lead to a more transparent and more solid market, if you know what I mean, in the end. Because everybody working in Russia need to straighten up, and we need to think about this market as a core one or just leave it, because otherwise you would not be able to administer and work here if you do not see Russia as a main market and do not see Russia as an important market for you. Do not have established operations here. Yeah, Lashi, I see.
Thanks, and I'll also touch some questions from the auditorium. Alexander Orolchuk is from Login Casino is asking, and as it was also your point, and it will be very interesting to hear betting operators' perspective on this. How do you evaluate the Ukrainian market? So how promising is it for international companies? So this was also the question raised by you. So what actions are you taking? Maxim, you covered a little bit, and so it's still very interesting to hear your short summary from the betting operators' perspective. So Maxim, you can start. Irakli and Minya, you can just go on.
Well, I would say that if we look at the overall CIS and post-Soviet area, we believe that Ukraine is market number 2 after Russia in terms of the sizes. So it's definitely an interesting piece of cake. And I would assume that a lot of operators from all over the world are looking towards entering the market. But I think what is missing a little bit right now is the 100% clarity on how things will work out, and it will take some time before there will be some movements. And it is also for us. I would say we were in position of looking into this market and the possible entry in midterm. So it's not going to be an immediate move tomorrow, let's say, but it's definitely on our list.
On your radar, yeah. Okay. Irakli, can you also comment on this?
So regarding the Ukraine, I don't have like the exact plans. But generally, we are also heading to expand our radar out of Georgia and Armenia, and I think Ukraine will be also one of the interesting piece of cake, as Maxim already mentioned.
Okay. Thank you. So my question would be: so how you Balkan operators are you observing? You are observing the growth strategy purely concentrated onto the Balkans, as you are already presented, and as you do have still the countries you need to cover, like, I don't know, Romania, Albania, etc., or you are also looking to the neighbor region, which is CIS, which is very close to Balkans regionally, and also, I don't know, for many reasons. So are you observing this kind of expansion, or you are mainly concentrated onto the Balkan stuff?
Thank you. Obviously, we are closely monitoring several different fields of potential activity. First one is that obviously Balkans, we are gonna finish the story there, but this does not mean that if proper chance arises, we will not be attacking it. Obviously, we were already approached to do something in Ukraine. Both we were offered introduction to the market, partnerships, etc., etc. But similar to Maxim, we're going to be cautious and we're going to be careful in that segment. On the other hand, we are always considered, due to the fact that the founder and the president of MaxBet is trying to put sort of his behavior into the group's philosophy. We're considered very bold, so we're also looking into West Europe as a potential, particularly Spain, and also we are carefully monitoring what's going on in the States, because we feel that those are the places, due to the fact that we done the homework in terms of understanding data, understanding players' needs, understanding markets, etc., etc. We feel that those are places we could do a lot.
Okay, I understand. Another question I'll pick up, Angel, from CIS. So does greyhound and horse racing is considered like sports betting events? Probably this was the question to the new legislation for the Russia. Maxim, you can, probably you have answered this, but so horse racing and...
Well, if we look, yes, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello? Yeah, from the law perspective, any kind of sports that is officially listed, it can be used for sports betting. So I would say yes, it should be okay to accept bets on both horse racing and greyhounds if they are officially organized and there is a federation or there is some association, official association that is organizing it. Maybe Irakli can add, maybe Ilya can add here if he knows if there's anything to add, but I'm pretty sure there should not be any problems accepting bets on horse racing and greyhounds.
Yeah, I agree here with Maxim for passing the mic for me. But I also, I would like to add a short note that in greyhound, very
short in time.
Okay. Just a short point that if they are international and are outside of Russia, then they should be organized by the official sports organization outside of Russia. So provided that if they are organized officially, then that's all right. I also don't see any trouble with accepting bets on these events.
Okay, I understand. So we've got just very quick, can we give just very quick answer regarding one question? So how you see the position of esports betting in the future of CIS region? So Irakli, can you just very quickly answer regarding this? Because you also had the substitute from esport to the casual sport events during the COVID-19, I think, and it had sufficient growth, I think, like this.
No, not really. I mean, we have pushed several. We have pushed several times. Like 1 or 2 years ago, we even especially dedicated some kind of project. Especially, you hear my voice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have dedicated special projects regarding the esports, but it was popular, but not so much because of the segment itself, because there are more young people are engaged in this direction, and they are not so. Not before that. No, not during, like 1 or 2 years ago, but during COVID-19 also we have pushed this industry, as it was no sport events, but it doesn't give us like the really big results or interest, because the generally here market is very little, and the guys who are engaged to the esport, they're more young people, not really interested into the betting. So the size of this market, it's little, yeah.
Okay.
I can tell you a little bit here on the esports. Yeah, well, classical esports like Counter-Strike, Dota 2, they did show some growth during the COVID. We did see a growth, but it's still the size of these classical esports is not, I would say, is not significant. But where we did see a huge growth, a big time, is simulators, especially FIFA, NBA. So all the simulators that are very simple and easy to digest for regular punters is growing big times. And even though the COVID have passed, I mean, we have all the big sports launched today. So that's why I'm saying the COVID for me is past, because we have all the big leagues playing. Still, we see a very big interest towards, especially FIFA. But you know, classical esports do not consider FIFA as an esport. Well, but it's still big for betting.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, because actually no sport events, and I was observing very carefully how you were, pushing all this stuff together. Very interesting, gentlemen, and very interesting to continue with you. But unfortunately, we are getting close to, we do have the limited time. So I want to once again thank you very much for getting the time to be with us and to share your thoughts and your knowledge regarding all this. So thanks to the auditorium for being with us. So thank you, Maxim, Irakli, Ilya, Minya. So I do hope that you will be safe. And for those who are interested in the part of CIS in detail, so we are tomorrow organizing a separate CIS networking roundtable with also very interesting guests, and everybody can join us. You will find it into the agenda. And so thank you, dear participants. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take care.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Take care, guys.